The Chicago Bears' rough season continued with a 30-12 loss to the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. The Bears' struggles began right from the start when they failed to convert on a fourth-down attempt during their opening drive. That missed opportunity was just a sign of things to come as the Vikings capitalized on almost every mistake made by the Bears. Minnesota took full advantage of Chicago's early missteps, scoring on 3 of their 4 first-half possessions. They led 13-0 at halftime and never looked back. The Vikings extended their lead throughout the game, finishing with a dominant 30-12 victory. The win pushed Minnesota to 12-2 on the season, tying them with the Detroit Lions atop the NFC North following Detroit's second season loss just one day earlier. The Bears' 10th loss of the year and 8th straight defeat after starting the season 4-2 confirmed that Chicago's playoff hopes are now all but extinguished. The Vikings' offense was firing on all cylinders. Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, and Cam Akers found the end zone. Akers and Jones combined for 2 rushing touchdowns, while Jefferson caught a touchdown pass from quarterback Sam Darnold. The Bears' defense could not slow down the Vikings' potent attack, as they failed to generate any real pressure on Darnold throughout the game. The Bears' defense did manage to block a punt in the second half, but it was too little, too late to reverse their fortunes. One of the game's key moments came in the second half when the Vikings kicker, Will Reichard, nailed a 46-yard field goal to extend Minnesota's lead to 3 scores, essentially sealing the win. The Bears tried to mount a comeback, but were thwarted at every turn. The team was forced to turn to backup quarterback Tyson Bagent for a brief moment when starter Caleb Williams left the game late. However, this only added to the sense option for a Bears team that had already shown little fight through most of the contest. After the touchdown from Jefferson to extend Minnesota's lead to 10-0, the Bears could not answer with much of anything. Still showing some signs of growth despite the loss, Caleb Williams managed to find Keenan Allen for Chicago's only touchdown of the night. But an unsuccessful 2-point conversion attempt after the touchdown kept the Bears trailing by 2 scores. That would be the closest the Bears got to a comeback, as they never managed to close the gap further. One of the Bears' more notable plays was Dominique Robinson blocking a punt from Minnesota's Ryan Wright. The blocked punt gave Chicago a chance to capitalize with good field position, but once again, the offense failed to capitalize. Chicago could only manage a field goal from Cairo Santos after a stalled drive, making it 13-3 Vikings. That brief moment of hope was quickly extinguished when the Vikings drove back down the field and scored again, pushing their lead to 20-3. The Bears' defense also struggled, particularly in the red zone. After Tariq Stevenson was flagged for a pass interference penalty in the end zone, Minnesota took advantage and scored on a 1-yard rush from Cam Akers. The Bears' defense couldn't contain Minnesota's running backs or wide receivers, allowing the Vikings to control the clock and the game. As the game went on, Chicago's situation worsened. The Vikings continued to wear down the Bears' defense, and when Will Reichard made his 3rd field goal of the night, the Vikings were ahead by 3 scores. By then, the Bears' only hope was to score a quick touchdown and recover an onside kick, but this never happened. In a last-ditch effort, the Bears lined up for the onside kick after a touchdown, but Minnesota's tight end, Josh Oliver, recovered the kick, effectively sealing the Bears' fate. With about 5 minutes left in the game and a 2-score deficit, the Bears' chances for a comeback were gone. The Vikings took control of the ball at the Bears' 42-yard line and ran out the clock, adding another blow to Chicago's dismal season. While the Bears' offense showed flashes of promise in the form of a few successful passing plays, their inability to score in the red zone and constant penalties, including an illegal substitution penalty that wiped out a DeAndre Swift touchdown, hindered their progress. These penalties, absolute protection for Williams, and any consistent offensive rhythm ignited questions about Chicago's coaching and play calling. On the other hand, the Vikings were efficient in all game phases. Darnold made a few crucial throws, including a well-timed play-action pass to Justin Jefferson, who managed to get wide open in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Although not without flaws, Minnesota's defense did just enough to keep Chicago from ever genuinely threatening. The Bears' offense struggled to execute, and that's been the story of their season: an inability to finish drives, commit costly penalties, and make key stops when necessary. The Vikings' victory puts them in a great position. They are now tied with Detroit for the NFC North lead. Their 12-2 record has them in the hunt for the top seed in the NFC, and they will look to build on their momentum as they close out the regular season. Minnesota has now positioned itself well for a deep playoff run, largely thanks to its impressive offense and timely special teams plays. The Bears' playoff hopes are all but extinguished. This loss drops them to 4-10 on the season, and they've now lost 8 consecutive games. While Caleb Williams continues to show glimpses of his potential, the lack of consistency and continued struggles of the Bears' offense make it clear that they will need significant changes heading into the offseason. The Bears must reassess their coaching staff, roster, and overall strategy to turn this franchise around. It's clear that Chicago's rebuilding process is far from over, and the team's inability to compete at a high level will force them to evaluate their future direction. On the other hand, the Vikings look poised for a strong playoff run, with an offense led by dynamic playmakers like Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones, and a defense that can clamp down when needed. The Bears' loss in Minnesota was another challenging chapter in a season full of disappointment. The Vikings are thriving, but Chicago remains uncertain. Their fans will hope for brighter days, starting with their next game. The Bears will have to regroup and continue rebuilding, while the Vikings have the potential to continue their playoff push deep into January. Minnesota's 30-12 victory is a big step in that direction.